Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 2073. Fun Friday! Yep, we made it to the end of another week. Woo! So we're going to celebrate with some fun stuff. So, as most of you know, I am currently sorting through 28 years of stuff and finding some fun things along the way. So I thought I would share my latest coup for today. So they actually started last night. So what happened last night is I was going through this box and it was full of letters and cards and stuff that my mum had sent over, stuff from the New Zealand Genealogy Society. There was a whole mix of stuff in there. And so I was going through seeing if there's anything in there I could shred. And I came across this envelope. Wait a minute. Oh, hang on. I've got to put that one there. That's the best one. Okay, so I came across this envelope and it was not opened. So I opened up the envelope and inside was a Christmas present. And so I looked at the envelope. The envelope was from 2009. And so I sent my mum and dad a text and says, hey, want to get on Zoom? So we got on Zoom and I showed them my present and I unwrapped it in front of them. And what was it? A really cool, and I don't know, and I cannot explain why I did not unpack something from my mum. I usually unpack something from my mum as soon as possible. But for some reason I didn't. But what it was the New Zealand Conservation Calendar. And it has really cool, for 2010, by the way, yes. So it has really cool pictures. It's New Zealand fur seal. Isn't they cute? Yes, we have fur seals in New Zealand. Let's see, what's this one? This is sunset on the Paparoa coast in Westland. So on the west coast of the South Island. Isn't that pretty? This is Edwards River with Falling Mountain in the background on Arthur's Pass. Arthur's Pass goes between the east coast and the west coast of the South Island. There's a really cool train ride that goes through there too. This is Silver Beach Forest, Uriwara, National Park. Sorry to all of my Maori friends and family. I am sorry. It's a little rusty. My Maori's a little rusty. This is Rainbow Over the Fracks in the Mahuia Wetland in Tongariro National Park. Isn't that pretty? The Hector dolphins. These are the smallest dolphins in the world, and you'll only find them in New Zealand. Yes, you can actually go swimming with them too. This is the Royal Albatross. They say it's the wandering albatross. Southern Ocean, two forms of the wandering albatross breed on the on Auckland Islands and the Antipodes and are unique to New Zealand. I know that near Dunedin at Port Chalmers, they actually have a Royal Albatross colony, and it is the only Royal Albatross colony in the world that is on the mainland of a country. Normally, most of them are on islands, and you can actually go and see them. These are young kakapo chicks, birds. They're really cool, very intelligent. Yes, seen some really cool documentaries with them. This is the air mountain reflected in Lake Wakatipu. Lake Wakatipu being down near Queenstown. Queenstown's on the shores of it, along with Glenorchy. This is, good grief. The scarlet russie, scorpionfish, kelp, and soft coral on a rocky reef at White Island in the Bay of Plenty. White Island is a live volcanic island. It erupted 2 or 3 years ago when people were actually on there. This is the Kia. It is an alpine parrot, and it is very mischievous. It loves going after the rubber seals around windows on cars, the rubber tires. It's got an extremely strong beak. There was a really cool TikTok I saw the other day where one was sitting on top of a car roof and the guy would open the door and put out his bottle of beer for it to take the cap off. It did. And then this is my absolute favorite mountain in New Zealand, Mount Taranaki. I spent 6 years living in the shadow of this mountain and went for many walks and strolls and hikes on the mountain. So that was my 2009 Christmas present from my family that I didn't open until yesterday from my mum and dad. So that was the one fun thing. The next fun thing, I'm running out of room in here. The next fun thing Actually, I've been down to pick this one up because it's heavy. This is an old box file. You can see how old this box file is. It's got the whole, you did actually have like a label here that you could write whatever was inside on it. Box files open like this. Hang on. You got to press the little side piece in here for it to pop open. And inside here is a whole bunch of letters and gifts from my pen pal. Now I started, I can't remember how, yeah, she wrote to me first. So my friend Sandy is in upstate New York on Keuka Lake. She's lived there for a while. Her husband live on a vineyard that her husband's family's had for generations. It's like 400 years of 400 years it's been in the family or something like that. But they grow the grapes and sell them to the wineries. And so she lives there on the edge of Keuka Lake. And we started writing backwards and forwards to each other when I was living in New Zealand. And when I moved over to the States, we actually, Brad and I went up there for a weekend and we stayed in Hammondsport, which is at the bottom of Keuka Lake, and got to spend the weekend with them doing all sorts of fun stuff and everything else. So this is all the letters. Oops, that one doesn't belong in there. Neither does that one. Well, that's my mum and dad's one. Well, this is, it doesn't say which holiday. Oh, Christmas 91. Oh my gosh, her sons were 12 and 16 in 1991. Yeah. But those have got the family photos from them. Here they are in Maine eating lobster. This is the Finger Lakes Regional Park thing, information she sent me. This was a Mark Twain musical drama that was on there. She sent me all sorts of stuff and lots of, and we hand wrote letters. We hand wrote letters to each other. I mean, yes, Finger Lakes wine country. That's the lake that she lives on. It was really, really cool. And she sent me newspaper articles about the region, about the area, different things that they were doing. Oh, yeah, I didn't know about lacrosse. So she sent me a picture out of a newspaper of lacrosse and says that they have on helmets, mouthpieces, shoulder pads, arm pads, gloves, and a protective cup. That ball is hard and fast. And she even has the ball circled. So there's a whole bunch of, there's 10 years of correspondence backwards and forwards in here with a whole bunch, I got lumping mail from her, which, this one's got more. That got really cool. She sent me the first letter on May 6th of 1991. And she got me through the international correspondence. American greetings to the world. This was the leaflet that she filled in and got sent my name and information. There's where she cut the form out. Yeah, and that's how she got my name and information and sent me a letter. And that's how we started writing to each other. And we had a great time writing backwards and forwards to each other. And it was just really, really cool. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about upstate New York. Didn't know much about New York City, but upstate. Look at these beautiful, this is Keuka Lake. That's her lake that she lives on. This is just a comic drawing of the lake area. Another one of Keuka Lake. Pinyon is on one branch of the Y of Keuka Lake's the Y-shaped, is this one here, the Y-shaped one. And we actually went up to Pinyon one night with them and had dinner at this really cool restaurant thing. I think it was in an old church. And hanging from up above were all of these beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, stunning, handmade quilts that had been made by Amish and Mennonites. I think it was just the Amish that had made the quilts. They were absolutely gorgeous, and they were all for sale. So they had been hanging in the thing. In Hammond Sports, which is down here, that's where we stayed at a bed and breakfast, and this is where she is on the lake up there. That was pretty cool. Oh, that's when they went to Maine. But it's just absolute. I mean, I found this and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I've got to go. I haven't been through it since I found it. I just opened it and went, oh. I actually thought I had lost this box. So I am extremely happy to have found this box. And I sent her some. I remember one of the books that I sent her was actually on the New Zealand. It was on the kiwi, the bird, and she's just absolutely fascinated with the kiwi. And so there was this really cool book which talked about the kiwi, how they live, the Maori legends on how the kiwi became. It got the longer beak, got the thicker running legs, lost its wings. Basically, that sort of story. And so I sent her over that, and they had an X-ray there of a kiwi with an egg inside of it, and the kiwi's egg, the ratio of the size of the egg to the ratio of the size of the bird is the largest egg in the world when it comes to the ratio of egg to kiwi body. Yeah, it's. I wonder if I can quickly find it. Where's my Forever account? I think I have one in there. Hang on, one moment, please. So that box is like almost exactly 10 years worth of stuff in there. Hang on. Let's see if we can quickly find. Let's see, there's a really cool image. Yeah, that would work. Oh, it's actually in the. Okay, so this picture is in Te Papa, which is our National Museum. It's where it was taken. This is the egg sitting right here inside the skeleton. Now, this looks like it might have been taken in Te Papa, which is where they actually have the skeleton, and I have a photo of this, and you can see the outline of the bird behind. So you can see it's a large egg, and they had other ones here. Oh, this is on a Facebook page. Let's see if this will work. No, that's just going to take you to my Facebook page. We don't need to see that. Where's my stop share button? There it is. But you can see it is a very large egg compared to the size of the body, which is absolutely amazes me that that they have that size of an egg. It's incredible. So those are two very, very fun things. The other thing I found, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, I have to read this. So I picked up, so I was going through a box, and there was this book in there. And I looked at the title of the book and went, you have got to be kidding me. So for those of you who follow me, you know that I am a genealogist. And one thing that I keep insisting on people doing is writing their story for future generations. So this book I came across was published in 2008. The person that this book is addressed to was born on the 21st of December, 2005. And but what it's called, Life Beyond Measure, Letters to My Great Granddaughter, and it's written by Sidney Poitier. This book here. Here is his granddaughter on the back at the time that it was published, and he wants his granddaughter to know, in his own words, from the stories not passed down but told from his lips, stories from his mind, his imagination, his philosophies and experiences, my life as told to her, intended expressly for her and those of her generation. This is a great-grandfather who had the inspiration hit him, because he's written a few books, but as he says, and as he described in this book, and I'm only in the prologue of this, there's 23 letters in this thing that he's written, and he's in the prologue, he's introducing us to his great-granddaughter and putting down his thoughts as to why he wanted to do this book. And I thought, this is absolutely brilliant. And one of the things that he said, he's written a lot of other books, but they just give you a partial view of who he was. And he didn't want his great-granddaughter to have a partial view. He wanted her to get the full picture of him. He said, and it occurred to me that I needed to go beyond the sketch to tell her more about the questions, answers, and mysteries that have concerned me at various important junctures. The partial view would not do for usage in her significant passages of life. And then over here, and this one really, really hit me. He said, nonetheless, I am encouraged that on these pages between the covers of this book, she will be able to visit with me learn who I really was, who I really am, and what life on this earth has been from my vantage point. This sums up exactly why people should tell their stories. You're telling it from your vantage point to later generations. He's writing this for his great-granddaughter. He came up with the idea when she was 2 days old, when he first met her. He met her on the 23rd of December 2005. She was 2 days old, and he came up with the idea of doing this book. And he published it in 2008, and then he passed in January of 2022. So he got a good 17 years. Hang on, math. She was born in 2005. He died in 2022, in January of 22, and she was December of 2005. So go back a year. So yeah, she was 17 years old when he passed. And I'm just like thinking, imagine, just think about that. She's had 17 years with her great-grandfather of times when they have probably sat down, had conversations about stuff that's in this book. But if she ever forgets anything, she can go back to this book and have a conversation with him. And there's 23 letters in here that he has written her. Where's the contents? The first letter was you and me. The second letter was getting to know you. Third letter, where we come from. So giving the history of the family. The fourth letter is early days. The fifth letter is family Poitier. The sixth letter is the loner. Seventh letter is, this was part one and first outdoorings. Part two is called expeditions. So the seventh letter was me and God. The eighth letter is the channel between want and need. The ninth letter is taking a stand. The 10th letter is love is my many splintered thing. The 11th letter is fear, doubt, and desperation. The 12th is battling the demons. The 13th, bravery and cowardice. The 14th letter is close calls. The 15th letter is people of courage. Part 3 is questions, answers, and mysteries. The 16th letter is the neutral zone. That sounds good. The 17th letter is logic and reason. 18th is science and society, friends or enemies. The 19th is the warrior within us. The 20th is the environment. The 21st is faith. The 22nd letter is death. And the 23rd letter, the world I leave you. Isn't that an awesome way to leave a legacy for your great grandchildren? Like I said, he met his great granddaughter when she was 2 days old and came up with the idea for this book. And 3 years later, this book was out. And I have never read it. And I don't even, this is the thing, I don't remember purchasing this book. Usually I remember where I got books from and all that. This came out of a box and I'm like, where the heck did this come from? Because I don't remember purchasing it. And then when I read this, had letters to my great-granddaughter, I was like, I have to read this. And it was actually a New York Times best-selling author of The Measure of a Man. Because he's written a few books, but I've never read any of his book. But this one, at some point in time, it spoke to me. I purchased it. But when I found it today, I was like, I have to read it. So I've started reading it. I'm only in the prologue, but it is an incredible book so far. Just the insight of why he wanted to do this, so he could teach her things that he's learned in life from his perspective, learn who he is from his perspective. So she gets to know who her great-grandfather is, where they've come from, what his thoughts are on things. I just think that is such an incredible gift. And he points out the reason why he wanted to do this, which is basically the reason I want people to write their stories and encourage you guys to write your stories. You don't have to be famous to have stories. I had in here the other day the story my great-grandmother wrote. And it was a fictional story. She had a fictional name on it. But the rumors around the family is that it was actually based on her life. And so I treasure that book because if it is based on her life, then it gives me a great insight as to who she was and some of the struggles that she had. What are some of the struggles that you've had that your future generations can learn from? People say, I don't have anything to write about. They hear people up on stage telling their stories and go, well, my life wasn't that interesting. Really? Are you sure? Go back and think about your life. Think about, did you ever have, what happened at school? Were you ever bullied? Were you the teacher's pet? Were you always, and just the average student? Were you above average student? Were you below average student? Were you always getting in trouble, getting detention? Did you ever get expelled from school? What school field trips did you go on? What adventures happened on those field trips? Let's see, what else can you ask? What was your family life like? Were you the only child? Did you have siblings? How many siblings did you have? Where did you fall in the sibling order? I was the oldest of 3. I am the oldest of 3. I still have my 2 younger brothers. So I am the oldest of 3. I am the oldest grandchild on one side of the on my mum's side of the family, and I'm the second oldest grandchild on my dad's side of the family. I've got a cousin who is exactly November, December, 2 months older than me. She's October 9th, I'm December 9th, and we're the same year. So we're only 2 months apart. Where do you fall in the family? What was it like growing up with your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents? Who was around when you were younger? Which relatives did you get to meet? Did you have your great-grandparents around? How many of your 8 great-grandparents did you have? Did you get to know? Maybe they were all gone when you were born. What about your grandparents? Did you get to meet all 4 of your grandparents, or were some already gone before you were born? These are questions that you should ask yourself. Where did you go into college? What degrees did you get? What fun did you have at college? What did you do at college? What did you learn at college from some of your mistakes? What mistakes did you make in life that you then turned things around? Everybody has a story to tell. Your story is just as important as this story is for this that Sidney Poitier has left behind for his great-granddaughter. Your story is just as important. So think about that. What was his words here? I love what he wrote here, that I'm encouraged that on these pages between the covers of this book, I'm going to leave you with this to think about. She will be able to visit with me. So he's thinking about when he's gone, she can still come and visit him in the book. Learn who he really was, who I really am, and what life on this earth has been from my vantage point. What legacy are you going to leave behind for your great-grandkids? Even if you're just a parent right now, you're like, grandkids, my kids are like, they haven't even hit double digits. It doesn't matter. Think about your great-grandchildren that are going to come along at some point in life. How are they going to get to know who you are? How are they going to get the answers out of life? What did you learn during your lifetime advice that you want to pass on to your children and to future generations? Think about that. And we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific.